This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
From Estero, Florida, this is a One Extraordinary Marriage show, where being busy is overdone, romancing is fun, and scheduling sex has taken the guesswork out of wondering when you're going to get some. I'm Tony DeLorenzo, your co-host, along with my beautiful wife, Elisa. From coast to coast and around the world, thank you for joining us. It's time to talk sex, love, and commitment. Give us a call or text us on the Hug hotline at 858-876-5663, or send us an email to hugs@oneextraordinarymarriage.com. In today's episode, as we approach Thanksgiving, we're talking about the power of gratitude in marriage and what grumbling and complaining actually does to your brain, your body, and your relationship.
There's a quote from Beattie that says, "Gratitude turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, and confusion into clarity." And as we talk about this, the difference between gratitude and grumbling and the impact that it has on your body, I think that's just something to keep in mind. And, we start every episode with a hug. A hug is really an opportunity for us to share what those in the one family are saying, what they're doing about their marriage, how they're being intentional. And this hug comes from a 5-star iTunes review that started off by just saying, "This podcast clarified my mind and transformed my marriage." There's no one thing that makes an extraordinary marriage. There are many different facets that blend into something extraordinary. The episodes provide real-life examples of building all the pillars of intimacy and provide a lot of samples of the fallout from crumbling intimacy. Before One Extraordinary Marriage, I had my intimacy priorities and she had hers. But we never found room to work on both together until we had the 6 pillars from One Extraordinary Marriage. It's normalized the conversations that make our marriage work, and it showed us how to have the conversations ourselves. Now we have the One Extraordinary Marriage we were seeking for 37 years. I wish we had this advice when we were young.
Wow. That's impactful.
And
that's amazing.
And my ask to all of you, if you're sitting here right now going, yeah, it's kind of the way I feel. One is we would love to have you leave a iTunes review. Absolutely. But more importantly, pass it on to a couple. Maybe a couple that's fewer years married than you are, and give them the gift that so many of us say we wish we had. Like, I wish I'd known this when we were young. Will you actually have the ability to press share wherever you're listening to this and send a text to somebody and just say, hey, this is something I wish I had heard when I was younger, and I just want to pass this on to you.
And I will say this, those of you who are younger married, you may need to pass this on to somebody older. Somebody in your church, somebody in your community group, somebody in your family who needs to hear this message as well. And in a loving way, just like this couple, 37 years. It's amazing the impact that One Extraordinary Marriage has had on generations from young to old. And so there is it doesn't matter, man. A number, how long you've been married, and I've said this before, I don't care if you have a quantity or number on you. Oh, I've been married 40 years. Well, how many of those have been extraordinary? How many of those have you had real joy? And I can tell you for myself, the first 11 were not. The last 18, yes. So I just want to say that, because a number doesn't matter. It's how you are embodying the 6 pillars of intimacy, being intentional with them and taking action with them. That really matters.
It's so good. And as Tony said at the top of this episode, we are approaching Thanksgiving. As this episode is being released, it is Thanksgiving week. And
for those of you here in the United States, for all of our other international folks, it's just another week for you. So have yourself an amazing week. For our one family here in the US of A, happy Thanksgiving.
And we're talking about gratitude, and the antithesis of that or the opposite of that in grumbling and complaining. And we can have all of this focus on let's be thankful and all this kind of stuff. But the reality is this time of year, and not just in the United States, you can easily get caught up in what's not working, right? You've got the holidays coming, which brings, financial concerns, financial intimacy. You can get into all the family dynamics and everything that's going on there. You've got presents, you've got activities and all of this kind of stuff. And you can actually find yourself just sort of welling up with the complaining and the grumbling, the traffic, the family, the kids, the weather, you name it. It can be this almost, I heard this phrase once, this death by 1,000 complaints. And it feels weirdly accurate when you start digging a little bit deeper behind and beyond the whole hey, how you doing? And you just it starts to come out. And instead of the happiest time of the year, you find these phrases flying out of your mouth like, you didn't take out the garbage, or how many times do I have to ask you? Or we never spend any time together. It's all about the kids. We're too busy. And on and on and on. And some of you feel yourselves right now getting a little amped up just at the energy that I'm bringing at the top of this episode. I know because I'm feeling it.
I think as we enter the holiday season as well, the grumbling can come, I think, underlying, especially in marriage, in-laws, outlaws, all the family members, maybe those friends that are a little grating, especially this time of year. Mm-hmm. I mean, because some people are like, do we go? Do we not go? Oh, Aunt Judy over there, we're going to have to deal with her and this person and that person. And I think for all of us, not all, but many of us, the grumbling can tend to start seeping in instead of the gratitude.
Mm-hmm. And there's some really interesting statistics on complaining and some of the research and the science behind it. And I just had to share this with you guys because it starts to wake you up when you hear statistics. There's one statistic that says the average person complains 15 to 30 times per day.
I wonder if there's how do they do that? But
what's your complaint counter?
Yeah, do you just have a little clicker every time you complain? You just click it?
There was one research study I saw that said that most people complain once per minute in a conversation. I was like, oh shoot, now I got to think about if I'm having a conversation with somebody, I mean, there is some truth to that. I can think back to conversations and, sometimes we don't think that these complaints are all that big, right? It's just I'm dissatisfied or so, but you think about those complaints and how they start to actually impact brain and body. There was a research study done at Stanford that showed complaining shrinks the hippocampus, which is the area of the brain that's critical to problem solving and intelligent thought. So they go on to say that every time you complain, your neurons make new neural pathways, which make it easier to complain without even realizing that you're doing it. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay, hold up. And then Penn State had a study that when you complain, your body releases cortisol. Now, we do not need any extra cortisol, the stress hormone, running through our bodies. And if you're in perimenopause, you sure as heck don't need any extra cortisol running through you because that puts you more at risk of high cholesterol, diabetes, heart disease, obesity, and strokes. Merry Christmas.
Which, having been around you in other women in that perimenopause, menopausal state,
wow, that feels very diplomatic.
There is a lot, I got to say, there's a lot of grumbling happening.
Yes. And now in all honesty, one, I'm not going to deny it. That is totally a true statement. And two, it's doing episodes like this that force me to look at the research and not just saying, hey, you know what, cortisol is not good for me, but you start looking at what creates the cortisol mm-hmm. and what you can control, right? Because there are certain things that become stressors that I can't control that.
No. I understand, but I'm just saying overall, right. That's it's I think it's an interesting place to be, even looking at, complaining, grumbling, especially when you're in a state of transition, uh-huh. such as perimenopause and menopause. I'm not saying it's not. Please do not misrepresent what I just said, folks.
No need to send Tony the hate mail.
No. I get it. I'm just saying I have been around enough to know there is a lot of grumbling and complaining that is happening. Yeah. And just as if you have a medical issue or a pain, an ache, a child who's gone wayward, these are all things that many of us have experienced. I have myself. Mm-hmm. This is gut checking me. how many times am I sitting around grumbling about the aches in my shoulder and in my elbow and in my feet and in like right, like I'm going, holy crud, man!
Tony might get to 30 in the first hour of the day.
Truthfully, man.
But you start hearing this research, and that's part of the reason why we share this here on the One Extraordinary Marriage Show, where I will go look at research and I will, dig this stuff up, because sometimes we just need that wake up call. We need somebody else to, not just be our spouse and say, hey, will you stop complaining all the time, but to understand that it's not harmless. We're actually doing things to our bodies. And what I love is that on the flip side of that, Dr. John Gottman has found that happy marriages maintain a ratio of at least 5 positive interactions for every 1 negative interaction. He's got this 5-to-1 ratio. And during peaceful times, so when things are going well, so 5-to-1 is generally a great ratio for when you're in conflict. During peaceful times, that ratio can get up to like 20-to-1 positive interactions to negative or, what feels heavy, that type of thing. So it's something to keep in mind, especially as we are in, this season of the year, as you start thinking, even outside of this season, like, how do I show up in my marriage? How am I expressing gratitude? What are the things that I'm thankful for? And that's why this week, every year, tends to have an episode around gratitude, appreciation, thankfulness. You can almost count on it. We've been doing this. This is our 16th Thanksgiving week episode, right? And it's also a time for Tony and I to go, what are we grateful for? Because we want to be in that place of going, hey, I do not need my brain centers getting any smaller. Like, I'm just going to tell you, I need the problem solving and the intelligent thought. I need those bigger. So if gratitude and not complaining is going to do that, that's something that we need to get into. And just out of curiosity, since we are doing the show and I've been doing all the talking, what are you thankful for this year?
Before I get to that,
I
do want to share this. We have our free gratitude planner that
great.
I want you guys to pick up, because it would probably be a great way to just get this in your hands and write a couple things down that you can share with your spouse this week or by the end of the year or whatever you want to do, but make it happen. So you can get it at oneextraordinarymarriage.com/gratitude. I'll put a link here in the episode notes for you as well, but grab it. It's a great planner. We've had hundreds and hundreds of them picked up and used, and we've heard such great feedback from it. It's just a great way to just sit down and make it happen. What am I grateful for?
Wow.
I was thinking about this. Because every night I go to bed and there are 2 things I do. Typically I do this, I read my Bible, and then maybe I read something else and I fall asleep. But it's my best things. And the 2 things I write down every night, my best thing is a personal and a business. And it forces me to go, what was the best thing today? Because what we do is One Extraordinary Marriage. And I think about it 20 something hours a day. There are many a times when I'll sit there at the end of the day and look at my personal one and just tap my pen on that and go, what am I grateful for? And so I went back a little bit and just wanted to see what I've been grateful for, especially between you and I. And 2 things were noticeable for me. One was I'm always grateful for, and it was just like the best thing is like, I'm always grateful for the ability we have now to just have the emotional connection, even in the tough times. And for us to have disagreements, arguments, go our separate ways, and yet be able to come back together without holding a grudge. And maybe sometimes, I think sometimes you hold a grudge a little bit longer than I do. But that's just my perceived, that's just my perception. But
stay
hey,
focused.
I am staying focused. I'm just saying, but I am grateful for that, the ability for us to get to those conversations in some way, shape, or form, and not just brush it under the rug. Number 2, what I noticed most of the times was I was grateful for the great sex we had. And I
will receive that.
And I think the reason that's been more prominent than I would have said in the past is due to shifting in age and our ability to still, and hey, we've heard it and you've heard it from many others in the one family who are in their 70s and 80s. And I am just sort of like, wow, to be 52 going, wow, the shifts that have happened in the last 5 years or even the last 10 years, I'm just grateful that we have that connection, because I believe it is so vital to us continuing to have our own and create our own extraordinary marriage, and all our 6 pillars of intimacy. So that's what I would say.
I love it when the great sex makes it to the top of the list. That's kind of fun. For me, this year was a year of restoration. And, many of you, it was part of the podcast story, right? We lost our home through the Great Recession, and we'd spent all of the intervening years renting. It's why if you go back and you listen to different episodes, you might hear, coming to you from Naples or San Diego or Poway or, all of these different places, because we had rented in all of those years after losing our home, which again is part of the early years of the podcast. And so our ability to, one, decide that Florida was going to be our home over this last year, and then to make it permanent by being able to buy a home here. And not just that, but the other thing that I'm really thankful for is that our family is restored here in Florida. This was the year that, Abby had moved with us, and Alex made the decision over the summer to move to Florida. And our ability to work together to facilitate that, to navigate both of those things, this has really felt, I'm just grateful for the restoration of dreams. In terms of the home, and just the home that we found that just suits us so well. And then family restored of having him out here, and just being able to, as much as, Alex and Tony trash talk literally from the moment they get up in the morning until somebody falls into bed at 9:00 at night. These two just go at it all day long, but
in a loving way. We both,
it's all good natured, but wow.
Yes. It's a 22-year-old, almost 23-year-old, and his dad. And I will say with that too, it's a good place to be, and to be grateful for that, and to be able to be in a position to support our children, even in this stage and age of life, and be together with them is something I am truly thankful for. And now I don't even want to rush the empty nester part of our lives. I really don't. And that's a really interesting thing, and a really interesting place to be, because 2 years ago, that's where it was like, yeah, let's go. Now it's sort of like, let's do life as a family, because it's so important. And
I'm chuckling over here, you guys, because we can't have the kids listen to this episode.
No.
If Alex hears, well, Dad's not rushing it, I'm not leaving.
Eventually he will have to.
Eventually he will. But it is a sweet season of, like, I like to think of these as our bonus years with our kids. And changing perspective on the empty nest stage, which we'll talk about in a future episode. But more importantly than what we're grateful for is what all of you are grateful for. I'd asked the question on Instagram this past week, thinking over the past year, what are you grateful for in relation to your spouse or your marriage? And I just want to say, feel free to borrow anything on this list to share with your own spouse. Because there were comments like the grace that they give me, increased emotional intimacy, kindness, having lots of fun in recreational intimacy since retirement. He's very intentional. He checks in and asks what he could be doing better. Teamwork. We've raised amazing children.
Yeah. Second chances. Amen to that. Right? How many of us have needed a second chance in our marriage and in life, and to have our spouse there beside us, that's a huge one to be grateful for. She's willing to have sex with me 3 to 4 times a week after 33 years. Well, there you go. Amen. Let's go. His commitment to growth, our shared faith, that spiritual intimacy, that's beautiful, that we've grown closer. And ending on that one, I do want to remind everybody, intimacy is not sex. Our society has hijacked that word from us, and it is our desire, and hopefully yours too, to bring it back to what it really means. Because intimacy is closeness and connection. And by sharing your gratitude, your thankfulness with your spouse, I would suspect that you'll grow closer and more connected.
And I just want to say, we share that list, but also with the realization that, in these really crazy, chaotic times, gratitude may not come easy. You may struggle to do it, and recognizing the fact that just like everything in creating your extraordinary marriage, you have to be intentional about how you do that. And we're going to be discussing that after this break.
Oh, Hilton stay, your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay, oh, Hilton stay.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. Enjoy comfortable rooms and friendly service when you stay with Hilton instead. Save up to 25% this season when you book with Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Terms apply.
With new, gentler scented Clorox disinfecting wipes, clean finally smells as good as it feels. On everything from lamps to ceiling fans. Even on your kid's toy shark. Oh, ouch. Clorox disinfecting wipes. Now available in crisp lemon. Find it on Amazon. Clorox. Clean feels good.
We're back. And we're talking about how to be intentional about expressing gratitude when it can be so easy to grumble, even though we have now learned that grumbling is not good for your brain and it's not good for those cortisol levels.
Right.
That I'm going to have to put that probably on a little note on my computer. When you grumble, it hurts your brain and it adds to cortisol weight, right? So first thing, keep that Gottman ratio in mind, right? Have your positive interactions outweigh your negative ones. Have the positive statements outweigh the negative ones. Think about, remembering to say thank you. Okay, let's just go all the way back to, a simple thank you. Choose the affection, choose compliments, choose those things. And, if you have to give yourself, not your spouse, but give yourself a scorecard. Every time you do something positive, give yourself a plus. Every time you do something negative or say something negative, do a minus. And then keep your ratios high, right? So think 5 to 1.
Yeah, more gratitude than complaining.
100%. It's better for you. Think about a gratitude ritual every night. I know a couple of my coaching clients actually choose before they go to bed. I remember when one couple started this, probably about a year and a half ago. And they get into bed and they might each have their own, separate reading time or whatever. But then before one of them is ready to go to bed, they'll hold hands and they'll express something that they're grateful for at the end of the day. So it is kind of like what Tony does in his notebook, what's the best thing? Mm-hmm. And they're just actually sharing that with one another, right? So you could tell you that. Another thing that you could do is when you feel like you're going to complain, like you never, you always, why don't you, that type of thing. Change it into something positive. Hey, you never help with kids' bedtime? Could be, I really appreciate your help with the kids getting them ready for bed. Don't complain about it. Demonstrate it as a positive statement, right? Change, because trust me, we all know the Charlie Brown teacher, right? That's what we sound like when we're complaining. The wah, 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 wah. Nothing penetrates. Our ears turn off. But if you change it into a positive statement, we're so much more receptive to that. And that's something we really have to be cognizant of, right? And even this week, what would it look like for you to write down 10 specific things? Let me tell you, specifics matters, that you are grateful for when it comes to your spouse. I mean, I think about it like Tony and I have eaten French fries together for over 3 decades. I know it's a small thing. I always get offered the last French fry. It's just not even even in his own French fries, I get offered the last French fry. That is something I'm immensely have immense gratitude for. Why? Because I never have to ask for it. I just know that I'm special enough to get the last French fry. That would be on my list. But what are the specific things in your marriage, right? Because when you can get specific, that is going to light your spouse up. It's going to change how they see you. It's going to change how they see the marriage. And when you start speaking more positively to your spouse, it's actually going to change how you see them.
Yeah. Make sure you pick up your free gratitude planner for that last one. And it actually even goes into the second one where you do a nightly gratitude ritual. Pick that up. Go to oneextraordinarymarriage.com/gratitude. That's for you. Use it this week. Use it for the year. Make it something so when we come to next year, you're already ahead of the game and you're like, I got this, or we got this. And it's something that even for Elise and I, we love being able to do this episode because it's a time for us to just really think about that. Like, what are we grateful for? And I will say for myself, I think it was many years ago where one of these episodes was what got me to the point where I was starting to write this down every night because I wanted to see the shift. I wanted to find the best things, even sometimes in the chaos, in the chaotic, in the complaining, in the grumbling. I wanted to find something I could be thankful for.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah,
I just want you all to know that we are thankful for you.
absolutely we are.
I know you hear it at the end of every episode or every email, every post, everything that says love you guys. We would not be where we are today with the reach that we have and the ability to speak into marriages around the world if it wasn't for all of you getting intentional about your own marriage. And we do not take that privilege lightly. You are one of the things that we are so grateful for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I couldn't say it any better. I really couldn't. We are truly blessed and honored to have you part of the One family. And, as we come into this end time of this year, it's just, this is the first of it, right? Like, I feel like every year now, having done this for many, many a years, it's just like that quick run to the end of the year. And yet we don't want to run to the end of the year. We want you to take a little bit of time this week, even over the next month or so, and just realize how blessed you are. Yes, things may be chaotic. Yes, things may be not going exactly the way you expected it in life right now. And yet, there's something you're grateful for. There's something that brings you joy in your marriage. And sometimes we got to just get that out there. Because sometimes in the complaining and in the grumbling, we want to suppress that. Because if we let it out, what could possibly happen to us? And I would encourage you this week to let it out, to go after it, share it with your spouse, vocalize it to them, write it on a piece of paper, put it to them in a text message. Whatever you feel comfortable doing, make it happen this week. Because I know for myself, it's changed me. And I'm sure it has changed Elisa. And I am praying that it will change you. It will have a shift in your heart to allow our Heavenly Father to just bless you in your marriage. You guys have yourselves a fantastic week. Love you guys. Thank you for listening to the One Extraordinary Marriage Show. If you love this podcast, please leave a review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you are listening. Your review helps others find the show and know that it's the right fit for them and their marriage.